Good morning, everyone. I'm Kim Gusby. We are breaking into scheduled programming for some breaking news right now. A heavy police presence at Savannah High School this morning because of reports of a shooting there. Our Edward Moody is live in the studio this morning with what we know so far. Edward, what can you tell us?
All right, so Kim, as you can see here behind me, this is live video we have from the scene. You can see people walking away from the school. All morning, police have been telling people not to come near the school. The road shut down on Capitol at Pennsylvania, right where Savannah High is. They're telling parents, if you have students in this school, you need to go to the Park Recreational Center. That is the Pennsylvania Avenue Recreational Center to find out more information about what potentially is going on with your students. So here's what we know and have confirmed. There is an armored vehicle among this massive law enforcement presence right now at Savannah High School. We are treating this as a possible school shooting at this point, but we have not had a confirmation that anyone inside the school was shot. There's a lot of talk on social media right now about possible victims of a shooting inside of Savannah High School. We are still working to confirm that information with Savannah Police. We do know at this hour that Memorial Health has been placed on a mass casualty call out. Now that is protocol because they are the local trauma center. That does not necessarily mean that they have mass casualties who have shown up at the hospital. We are still waiting on information on that. We do know that they don't want people coming like what we're seeing here, standing out in front of the school. This looks like students. The information we've been hearing about students, and again, this is from people who have called the newsroom, from parents who are concerned that have reached out to us, saying that they have heard from their children inside of the school and that their children are sheltering in classrooms. They were barricaded in classrooms. But as you look at the scene now, you're seeing what appears to be students walking away from the school. So this may be an update. As you can see right now, there in the center top of your screen, an ambulance with lights on leaving the school grounds at this point. No indication of what that means as far as any injuries or potential casualties in this, what we believe to be a possible school shooting at Savannah High School. We have several crews on the scene right now, including our lead investigative reporter, Brett Buffington. Ben Katko is out there at the moment. We have several people monitoring the scene, trying to find out what they can from Savannah Police. We also know that the Board of Education has their law enforcement personnel out there as well. We are waiting to hear more from the school district. We can see somebody there getting ready for a live shot. Let me ask our directors. I see Brett right there. Is he ready for a live shot soon, guys? Do we know? All right, there's Brett Buffington. Let's see what he has to say. Hey, Brett, can you hear us?
So, Edward, yes, I can. I'll tell you, we are starting to see somewhat of a relaxed presence here. We've seen some of the officers who were inside with those tactical rifles and tactical gear coming back to their cars. But I can tell you it is still a very intense scene. It's still a very big scene here. I did just talk to a couple students who were inside of this school. I can tell you about 3 minutes ago, there was just mass chaos as they were trying to get a second armored car here. Parents who were very obviously emotional and scared and worried went right towards the fence. Students came over that fence. So police said actually just they're still encouraging the parents that are so worried to come down here, as we've been saying, to go to the Park Recreation Center. It is right across the street from where they're holding these parents. They're just trying to get kids back with their parents, these students back with their parents in some sort of organized way. Back to what those students who were inside told me. They told me they heard what sounded like gunshots inside the school. They made it back to their classrooms. They sheltered in place there. They said that members of the SWAT team came into their room twice and checked that room. And then, as we witnessed here within the last 20 minutes, they have evacuated, at least what we can tell, they've evacuated the school. And it is now students waiting to be reunited with their parents, or some sort of exit strategy, if you will, for students to get home at the end of the day. We are waiting on police here in Savannah to give us an update. Of course, the school board police is here. Savannah police are here. The Chatham County EMS, the Georgia State Patrol, the ATF, the FBI, all among the people here. And I have a police officer who is walking up next to me right now, Edward, so I'm going to toss it back to you and see what he wants.
Brett Buffington live out at the scene at Savannah High, where we are looking into a possible school shooting there, a possible shooting that we are still working to confirm what exactly has gone on. But as Brett said, Kim, they talked to students at the scene and they heard gunshots, or what they thought were gunshots, inside the school.
That we got earlier from that scene. What we do know is that Savannah High School is a multi-level facility. We do know that SWAT team members are inside that facility to make sure that it is clear. So it may take parents, it may take them a little while to get through that and let people know exactly what is going on. Of course, being a parent, I know that you may be understandably concerned and upset right now. You're being asked to meet your student at the Park Recreation Center that's located right across the street from the school. At this point, though, the area of Capitol Street and Pennsylvania Avenue, those areas are closed to traffic. They're asking people to vacate that area from the school. Lots of information coming in right now. We have not confirmed at this point a shooting there at Savannah High School, but as you mentioned before, it has been confirmed that the staff at Memorial Health have been put on alert for a mass casualty call out, but that is protocol.
That is protocol, so that does not mean that they have mass casualties at the hospital. But as I said, it's the trauma center for the area, for the region. And so if there were to be a mass casualty event, that is where they would take people. A lot of rumors going around on social media right now, but the best thing for parents to do as they're reading those social media posts and as they're calling our newsroom, because I talked to several parents before I came in here with you, is to do what you said, and that's go to that Pennsylvania Avenue Recreation Center, Park as they call it. Brett said it's right across the street from the school, and that's what that's where we want people to go to try and figure out, you know, get reconnected with your kids and try and figure out from police what we are seeing there. Brett on the scene, and he posted video and a picture on his Twitter account. They brought in an armored vehicle. And that gives you an indication of how serious this is. You know, we can't confirm right now that there was a shooting. We're hearing the students heard what they thought were gunshots. So all of that is an indication of how serious this is. And
we have a lot of emergency units on the scene as well. Once again, we have not confirmed any information, but we have News 3's investigative reporter, lead investigative reporter, Brett Buffington. He's on the scene right now and he can tell us more. Good morning, Brett.
Kim, good morning again. I can tell you this morning that they are setting up, they're in the process of setting up a media staging area, which means obviously they are in some sort of process of starting to try and get information out. That is going to be down Pennsylvania, about a block from where I am right now, so we'll get that coordinated with some of our other crews. But I can tell you there's still an incredible presence of worried parents out here, parents who are trying to figure out what went on in this school. There's been a lack of information coming out confirmed by the police department this morning, I will say that. But from what we've heard from these police officers here along this street addressing those worried parents with care and compassion, if you will, for the one lady that I watched, she said that there's been no reports of anyone hurt inside. Talking with those students who were inside who made it by where we're doing our live shot here just a while ago, they said that they heard what sounded like gunshots. And then they made it to their classroom where they were told to shelter in place. That's when the SWAT team, according to those students, came in and they went into the classroom twice. They told the kids to put their hands up. They searched the room. The student who told me that happened 2 different times before they were allowed to evacuate the school. They're again in the process of trying to reunite kids with parents. I can hear police officers talking about trying to get school buses in here so that they can get these kids, of course, out of the rain. It is raining here and somewhere not standing out in the front yard of the school in the rain under a tree. It's obviously been a very traumatic morning for students at Savannah High School. I've watched several of them have come out in tears. One just being held up by what appeared to be her father walking across the street. She was just distraught. You can imagine what it's like for them to have all this police presence with officers with assault rifles in tactical gear. There's Bearcats, those armored vehicles parked outside the school. So coming back out of the school to see that has obviously been a very traumatic and emotional morning for the students here at Savannah High School. Kim, Edward.
Now, Brett, we see a lot of police presence behind you. Any information on a possible suspect or suspects at this point?
Not so far. All we can tell you is what we've heard from radio traffic from Savannah Police, and we don't really report that, but they haven't. I can tell you, as far as what the scene has felt like in the time that I've been here, it's certainly more of a relaxed presence. There aren't cops running towards the school anymore, so which would lead you to think that whatever threat was happening here is somewhat under control. The police cars that were streaming in here with lights and sirens on, they have stopped. The police are here. They still have this area shut down. I can tell you the federal investigators from the ATF, from the FBI, they are also here at this scene. It's very common in situations like that they are called in. But as far as the police coming out and naming a suspect or saying who did this morning, all we have is what we've heard from the radio traffic and parents coming out and saying what they thought have happened here. But we're still working to confirm all of that with Savannah Police.
All right. Thanks a lot, Brett and Edward Moody. You know, in situations like this, we hear a lot of things.
We hear a lot of things.
We need to confirm what is being said.
And people can get frustrated with that because they're seeing so many things on social media, which we didn't have to deal with at the beginning of our careers, but now we do. And so we work very hard, and we have contacts within the police departments all throughout the area to find out what is going on. You mentioned earlier, Kim, about the SWAT team going into the school. So I've covered school shootings before. That is a meticulous process. They go door to door, classroom to classroom. They're checking inside of closets, janitorial areas, and so they're clearing each floor one at a time, unless they have more crews that they can bring in and do all the floors simultaneously. So we know that process is going on, and maybe even has cleared now that we're seeing students leave the building. I did want to give an update, though.
Okay.
As we were standing here, we received an email in the newsroom, and I went to the City of Brunswick, Georgia's Facebook page. This is separate from this incident, but they received a call of an active shooter at Brunswick High School today. They are saying that many law enforcement agencies responded, cleared the school, and at this time they believe that that situation in Brunswick at the high school there is a hoax. Okay. That is from the City of Brunswick Police Department Facebook page. They say it seems to be a hoax at other schools in the area that are receiving similar calls. Now, I'm not saying that that is what has happened here at Savannah High, because as Brett said, we have heard from students saying they heard at least what they thought were gunshots.
And of course, everything has to be checked out from police.
Yes.
Even when these calls come in, even when it's determined that it is a hoax, when that information comes in, police have to go and investigate what's going on.
Every time. And we have seen in recent weeks and recent months, we have seen these hoaxes play out in South Carolina and in Georgia. And again, we're not saying that that is what has happened here at Savannah High. There is a massive police presence out there.
Clearly a different situation.
Clearly
here.
a different situation here. And we're hearing that students said, you know, they heard what they thought were gunshots. So again, the key information we want to get to people, of course, Kim, is if you're a parent, go to that Park Recreation Center, Pennsylvania Avenue Recreation Center. Police will have instructions for you there and how to get reunited with your student.
And if you're headed that way, keep in mind that Pennsylvania Avenue and Capitol Streets are blocked off for the most part, so you may have a bit of a commute walking to get your student. Of course, we know Savannah High School has a large student population, has a large staff population, multi-level schools with different buildings, so this process may take a little longer than we expected. I'm sure that parents, you know, are really concerned right now, worried about what's going on. And of course, we'll bring you the latest information, but we want to make sure that it's the correct information.
Yes, and just, you know, it gives you at least some comfort to have seen the video of the students walking out of the school. So we know that they are releasing some students from that school. So if you go to that Park Recreation Center, that's where you'll be reunited with your child, the students there.
And as Brett said, a much different feeling now
Yes.
Than it was just a few minutes ago as everybody was going to the scene, as the armored trucks were pulling in. The school district has sent a statement. Edward, I don't know if you can find that quick enough.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can find it.
I see it right here. Okay, I see it right here. Here's the statement from the school district. Emergency responders are on site and searching Savannah High School and the Savannah Early College this morning in response to unconfirmed reports of a gunman in the area of the campus. A lockdown has been initiated at the school. Emergency responders are evacuating students to a safe unification point while the search continues. So that's what we were likely seeing, Kim, in that video. There is no information at this time to confirm that the reports are accurate. However, a full response to the potential threat is taking place for the safety of all occupants. Parents will be provided information as to reunification process with students when the all clear is given.
And we do know that that unification location is the Park Recreation Center, which is right across the street from Savannah High School. One other thing, once again, we'll mention that the staff at Memorial Health, they have been put on alert, but that is protocol.
Yes.
In situations like this.
We don't want that to alarm people. It's what they need to do and are supposed to do if there is any indication that there's been some sort of mass violent event in our area. That statement from the school district coming as a little earlier today, so it sounds like they're still going through that school. And it's key to point out in that statement, they said they have no confirmation right now. Okay,
and also I just received a text from Ben Singer who says that he is hearing that Memorial Health has cleared the code. The code there has been cleared. They are no longer preparing for mass casualties at this point.
So we'll take that as good news.
Yes.
We'll take that as good news. And, you know, look, with the situation now in Brunswick and police here saying that they have not confirmed any sort of a shooting situation inside the school, you know, we have to then look at the possibility of this having been a hoax. But we won't know until police let us know after they have cleared that building.
Yes, and we're taking a live look right now at one of the armored trucks there. You can see police in the background as they continue to scour the campus of Savannah High School. A lot of emergency responders on the scene.
And Savannah Early College is well involved in this.
Yes.
So those are right there next to each other or within the same complex?
I think it's within the same complex.
Okay, all right. So as we look, there's Brett Buffington again, we see right there in that live video.
Now we have several crews on the scene.
Yes.
We have Meg Porterfield is there, also Ben Katko is there as well, and they're speaking with people who are there to try to sort out what is going on at this point.
Sure, give us a little context that we will bring you all day. I hear that Brett has an update for us. Let's go right out to him at the scene.
Edward, not really so much as new information, but I can just tell you that the feel here is certainly, hearing what you've heard from Ben and the update from Memorial, watching as police are here, it certainly feels like they have at least said, or are to the point where they no longer think there's an active threat here at this school. Certainly reading that statement where they are taking every protocol of an active shooter, I can tell you we watched that. We watched the SWAT team show up. We watched those armored cars show up. There's ambulances. You can see the Chatham EMS truck right behind me. There are literally dozens, if not hundreds, of police officers here. You can see blue lights behind me down Capitol here at Pennsylvania. We know there will be an update from obviously the Chatham County School System, Savannah Chatham School System, the Savannah Police Department involved. I can tell you the helicopter that was overhead has left. That could be because of the rain, but I can tell you that the story here is now parents showing up in tears, students coming out in tears, obviously shaken by what has happened here this morning. If it was a hoax or not, it was still very scary for all of the people here who were involved. There are upset parents just trying to get to their children here this afternoon, or this morning, I should say, who are being staged at the park. That's where the parents are to go here on Pennsylvania. And it's directly across from where they are holding these students. They are trying to keep some kind of order here as they get those students back with their parents. But I can tell you there are a lot of concerned parents standing out here with umbrellas this morning trying to figure out what happened here at this school, along with us trying to get as much information as we can out to those worried parents and this worried community. But again, there's literally dozens, if not hundreds, of police officers, including the FBI and the ATF, here at this school. We know that the Georgia State Patrol showed up, members of their SWAT team, of course the Savannah Police Department SWAT team is here. There is a command center here. So no matter what happens following this, there will certainly have to be an investigation now into how this started, what triggered this, and of course as we continue to wait and hope that the information coming out from at least the police officers who have talked to parents and I've overheard that no one has been hurt here.
Now, Brett, obviously, hoax or not, as you mentioned, parents and students and staff, they're all understandably upset about what is going on there.
Kim, because you have to understand how quickly, thanks to social media, thanks to kids being able to have their phones in classrooms, which has obviously proven to be so life-saving in some cases where active school shootings have happened. But I can tell you that message spreads. It's like that game you used to play with as a kid called telephone. By the time the message gets back around, there's so many accusations, so many rumors that are going on, and that's exactly what has happened here this morning. They are now waiting to, of course, send out a statement from the police department. They sent out a statement from the school district, certainly saying that they have to address that there has been the report of an active shooter. The police don't want to come out and say all clear and it not be all clear, but certainly parents here are showing up with the rumors that are spread on social media, on Twitter, with the messages that kids have heard and passed along, and they show up scared to death, literally. That these parents just show up in tears, so worried about their kids being involved in an active school shooting. And hopefully, as you just said, hoax or not, there will be an investigation. There will be an answer for these parents who showed up so worried about their children who they trusted were going to school safely this morning. They want to know how this happened, obviously.
Can you hear me, Brett? As a parent, you send your child to school, you know, not expecting anything like this to happen. I guess the question on many people's minds right now is what happens next? What happens, you know, once they get the all clear?
Well, hopefully they will get these students back with their parents quickly. I heard talk about buses getting here to get parents or students back to their houses who normally ride the bus home. So obviously that is in the works here. I'm going to kind of pan the camera this way just a little bit because you can see just the trickling out of students. I think it looks like they are moving those students from where they had them under that giant tree there, probably somewhere where they're not going to continue to get rained on because of what happened here this morning. Obviously they wanted to make sure all those students are safe. But yes, Kim, there has to be an investigation. The state police, the Georgia State Patrol is here, the FBI, the ATF is here. Of course, all of those people mutual aid with the Savannah Police Department, the Chatham County School District Police Department. They will get together and they will try to figure out to the best that they can what happened here this morning. And if it was a hoax, you certainly hope that they send a message to the person who did that because of the incredible response that it takes, because everything has to be taken serious in this day and age when they get a phone call like that. This response is absolutely necessary if it is a hoax, because what happens if it hadn't have been? Of course, we're certainly continuing to work to learn information from the Savannah Police Department. Thankfully, the good news here is what those police officers we heard telling parents that no one has been hurt, and we certainly hope at the end of this, when this investigation starts, that will continue to be the case.
That's what we're here for, to kind of sift through everything that we're hearing at this point. Thank you so much, Brett. We'll get back to you in just a bit. Right now, what we do know is that emergency responders are on the site of Savannah High School, searching the school and searching Savannah Early College this morning in response to unconfirmed reports of a gunman in the area of the campus. A lockdown was initiated at the school, and emergency responders continue to evacuate students from that area. And
that's what we were seeing there in
exactly.
that live shot from Brett. There is no information at this time to confirm that the reports are accurate that there was a school shooting. And I want to pick up on that because about 8 minutes ago we heard from Mayor Van Johnson on his Facebook account. He weighed in on this, saying that he had been advised about the emergency responders on site at Savannah High School and Savannah Early College this morning. He is saying as well, echoing that statement, that as far as his team has heard, there is no confirmation that anyone has been hurt inside of that school. So that continues to be positive news that our city leaders, our police leaders, they're saying so far we have not heard of any casualties, no injuries from gunshots inside the school. He's saying that Savannah Police and Team Savannah, that's his team, that are all the Savannah agencies, they are ready to help the district as much as possible as they move forward. And Brett's saying there, Kim, that they're talking about bringing in buses because in an event like this, you shut it down for the rest of the day.
Exactly. And from what I understand, the FBI and GBI are now getting involved with what is going on now. Memorial Health says, we just got the word, that their mass casualty code has been cleared. We mentioned that just a few moments ago, but just in case you weren't tuning in to hear that portion of it, that their mass casualty code has been cleared at Memorial. They are not expecting any shooting victims at this point.
Yeah, I want to say, you know, one of our reporters on the field, Meg Porterfield, she sent us an email with a text message from a student. I won't read exactly what is in the text message, but it gives us an indication of what students inside of the school were possibly feeling, thinking, and maybe even hearing. You know, inside the school, there were students huddled in classrooms, barricaded in classrooms, fearing that they had heard gunshots, fearing that someone was dead among the student or staff population there. And again, we have no confirmation of that, and it is sounding increasingly like that did not happen, but like no one is dead.
Terrifying nonetheless. I cannot imagine being in that situation. And Brett said something that I picked up on. He says, kind of like the telephone game, you know, someone says something and it goes down the line, and by the time you get that information, it's completely different from what it was where it started. Totally
distorted, which, you know, look, social media helps us in our job. I just read that statement from Mayor Van Johnson from his social media account, but it can also foster these rumors that really can alarm people in a situation like this, especially parents. Like I said, we had people calling the newsroom who had been on Facebook, who had been on Twitter, and they wanted to know what was going on. And so, like you said earlier, Kim, we can only report what we have confirmed and what we are told by authorities or witnesses there at the scene. And so what it's sounding like is the mood there, the atmosphere is calming down a little bit, and that's a good sign. And for the parents who can't get to their children at this point, I would suppose that the school system is, like you mentioned, sending in buses to transport those students home. In the meantime, for those parents who are headed to the school, the Park Recreation Center is the place to connect with your student. That's the unification location. We are taking a live look right now at the school. You can see police officers still on the scene, walking back and forth, getting out of that armored vehicle. A much different feel, though, right now than it was 20, 30 minutes ago. All right, so I want to give an update real quick. We're hearing from Ben Singer saying that other schools in the district have been alerted about this ongoing situation. At least one of them released information about precautions they were taking. That includes May Howard Elementary on Wilmington Island. They sent out a robocall to parents announcing that they were practicing a soft lockdown at that school. The instruction was still continuing and everyone is safe. Again, out of an abundance of caution, we are hearing that other schools in the district, they are alerting parents of what's going on and doing what they call a soft lockdown. This does not require a major police presence at those schools, not any indication that anything has happened at those schools, but they want to be just abundantly cautious when it comes to this. And again, Kim, I want to go back to what we read out of Brunswick from the police department there, saying that they had gotten a call this morning about a possible active shooter in that school. They sent the police, they checked it, and they have determined that that was likely a hoax.
Yeah.
And that other schools in that district, in that area, have received calls about a hoax. So we have no confirmation that this was a hoax. We will wait and see what they tell us.
And we're hearing reports of Glenn County schools as well, Wayne County, Glenn County. I just received a text from one of our colleagues here, and she says that her husband works at West Chatham Middle School, and they are on lockdown, but that is expected to be lifted at this moment. And I would imagine when something like this happens at one school, you take precautions at all schools.
You have to. You have to. In that update, I'm seeing that over at Memorial Health, so we got the word that they had cleared that possible mass casualty, but they're also saying that they do not expect any shooting victims.
Okay.
That more good news.
That is.
From Memorial Health.
Now we have Ben Katko. He's on the scene. He's about a block away from the school this morning. He's spoken to a couple of people. Ben, what can you tell us?
Hey, Kim, Edward, good morning to you. We are out here about a block from the school, as you guys were talking about. We've talked to some parents here in the last couple of minutes about what's going on. And as you might imagine, tensions are high, fears are high. They're parents wanting to get to their kids to figure out what happened. And a lot of parents are telling us right now the way they found out about whatever it is that happened at the school down the street here is not through necessarily their kids or the school, but other parents that they've been talking to. So they're a little unhappy right now about the nature of the information coming out. Now, in just about the last 10 or so minutes, the Savannah-Chatham County Public School System did tweet that the police here on site at Savannah High and Savannah Early College this morning, in response to unconfirmed reports of a gunman in the area of the campus, a lockdown was initiated. There's no information to confirm that the reports are accurate. However, we take all threats very seriously. That is word for word from the school system's Twitter account at SCCPSS right now. So what we've seen out here this morning are police and emergency workers from dozens all over town. We've seen police as far away as coming from the Savannah Hilton Head International Airport, police from Thunderbolt, the school system police, Savannah Police, Chatham County Police. We've seen them really from everywhere. The response here is enormous right now. As it stands, again, any reports that you're hearing are unconfirmed at this time. We are working to learn more diligently about what happened. I'm here at the corner of Capitol and Pennsylvania right now. We'll be here for some time until we can figure out what's going on. Brett Buffington is at the school. We've got other crews around the city trying to bring you as much information as we can. You'll hear from parents and see more video throughout the day today. But again, as we work out here to figure out what is going on, we'll continue to comb this scene and talk to some kids, hopefully, that are coming out of there. We know parents are being reunited with their children at the rec center not far away. We heard that from a police officer just a little while ago. So we'll continue to keep you updated as best as we can out here throughout the day today. For now, I do want to send it back inside so we can continue to work this scene. We are live this morning. I'm Ben Katko, WSAV News 3 on your side.
All right, thanks a lot, Ben. Of course, we have, as Ben mentioned, several crews on the scene. Ben's there. Our lead investigative reporter, Brett Buffington, is there. Meg Porterfield is there. She's posting things to social media right now, and you have some new information. I do.
Our Kyra Jones is out there as well. We have new information from Camden County Schools that we just received into the newsroom. So they have responded to what they are calling an active shooter hoax at Camden High School there in Camden County High School. They say that no shots have been fired at the school. They said a heavy law enforcement presence, similar to what we're seeing here, to go through that school. They do not believe that this was real at all. They have left police officers on the campus there at Camden County High School, just out of precaution, just in case. But Camden County sending out an alert today to the community that they did receive calls about an active shooter. They checked. It too was a hoax, again echoing what we've heard in Brunswick, at Brunswick High School earlier this morning, that they had received calls of an active shooter. That too was a hoax. And this, Kim, is a pattern that we have seen in recent months.
And unfortunately, it's a pattern. It's something that when it happens, though, you have to respond.
You have to, yeah. And you know, you send out law enforcement, similar to what we're seeing here in Savannah, that massive response. for something that, and we have not confirmed in Savannah that this was a hoax. We're hearing that there were no shots fired inside of the school, but they're still working to make sure all of that is confirmed. But you send this massive police response to these hoaxes, which is a waste of their time. It is a waste of taxpayer dollars, but it continues to happen. So,
but in this day and age, when we hear about shootings in other places like
yes.
Sandy Hook, like
yes.
Colorado,
Robb Elementary,
like Robb
yes.
Elementary School, we have to be on high alert, and we have to take the proper protocol in order for everyone to be safe.
We do.
But
and
mentally, what does that do to the students and staff members?
Well, and you know, and I've talked about this. We have our Wellness Wednesday segment on First News at 4, and we bring in Mary Jo Horton from Memorial Health, and she has talked about this before, about the trauma that this creates for parents and for students. You know, even if it was a hoax, there are students in there who, at least reportedly, thought they heard gunshots, and thought that it was not a drill or an exercise inside of the school. And so now you have to go back into that building thinking about that, and your parents have to send you back, and it's on their minds now.
And schools are supposed to be a safe place.
Yeah, they're supposed to be a safe place.
Well, we have new information right now. Our lead investigative reporter, Brett Buffington, still on the scene there at Savannah High School. Brett, what can you tell us?
We're still hearing here that there are no reports of any injuries, but I can tell you, Kim, there are still a lot of rumors going around among the frantic parents that are out here waiting to get reunified with their kids. And I hate using that word, but they just want to get back together to hold their children and make sure that their kid is safe this morning. I can tell you from one of the parents, they've actually taken the kids from here, the students here from out in front of the campus where they were standing in the rain, back inside of the school's gymnasium. One parent told me that their student was texting them that. I can tell you we have seen some of the law enforcement here begin to leave. Obviously, there is still a job to do across the rest of the city, not here just at this school, so they're obviously releasing some of those Savannah police officers to go back to their beats on their patrol. But I can tell you there are still dozens, hundreds of law enforcement officers here at this school this morning, certainly trying to figure out how exactly this all started. Kim, Edward?
Of course, we want you to keep us updated with anything that goes on out there. I know that people right now are still concerned, you know, because we haven't heard about any suspects. We haven't heard about the number of students involved, the number of faculty members involved. We do see a large law enforcement presence and a presence from emergency responders on the scene as well.
We saw an ambulance earlier leaving the scene with lights on, but they are saying at Memorial Hospital where they cleared that mass casualty alert, they've cleared that, and they're saying that they are not expecting any shooting victims. We've talked a lot about social media and rumors going on that. If you want to avoid the rumors, you can go to our social media page. We have updates on that. And of course at WSAV.com, and I'm not just giving a plug for the website just to give a plug. We have our digital staff has been working since this broke with images, there's video, and the latest information that we have. So we of course want you to stay with us here on air for as long as you can, but you can stay up to date on WSAV.com and our WSAV app as well.
And that's the thing that we've been saying all morning long, that we haven't had any confirmation on some of the things that we've heard, and we will not release that information until we get it confirmed to you. But right now, just to recap everything that's been going on today, earlier this morning, police were called to Savannah High School because of a report of a shooter at the school. We have not confirmed that there was indeed a shooter at the school. You can see there's still heavy police presence there at Savannah High School. Some activity on social media, you know, you mentioned that before, indicated that there was someone in the school. We have not confirmed that yet. SWAT team members are currently inside the school, checking room to room, floor to floor, to make sure that everything is cleared. Okay, the district is telling parents not to go to the school, and they are really emphasizing that. And we mentioned this before, that those roads, Capitol Street and Pennsylvania Avenue, those roads are closed off, but they're encouraging parents to go to the Park and Rec Center, which is near the school to meet up with their students, and I'm sure parents will be giving their children an extra hug, a big hug after a day like this.
For sure, and we keep reiterating that information because what we know is that the instinct is to go straight to the school and go and see if you can get to your baby, to your child, but they're saying go to that Pennsylvania Avenue Recreational Center. So I believe we have a reporter at Memorial Health. This is our Kyra Jones with an update from Memorial Health. Kyra.
Yes, that's right, Edward. Memorial Health officials are clearing that mass casualty code. It is all clear right now at this moment. Now, when I spoke to Memorial Health officials, they did tell me that since Memorial Health is a level 1 trauma center, they were on standby and prepared for the worst to happen. Now, since that code is clear, officials are saying that everything is good to go at this time right now. Just be sure you stick with us throughout the day for live updates and live team coverage as we give you updates throughout the day. Live at Memorial Health, Kyra Jones, WSAV News 3 on your side.
All right, thanks a lot, Kyra. Now we're taking a live look again at Savannah High School. You can still see that heavy police presence there on the campus. Once again, we're encouraging parents to meet their student at the Park Recreational Center, which is in the area. Do not go to the school. You'll not be allowed to go on campus. You will not be allowed near campus. No reports of any injuries. Nothing confirmed at this point.
No, nothing. I do want to say we just received a statement, another statement from Savannah-Chatham County Public School System. They're saying at this point, so emergency responders, as we can see, are still at Savannah High School and Savannah Early College, but all of their schools are on a soft lockdown. We want to dip in now to a news conference from the district.
Know that it will change the response because you always have to send all resources in, even if you may have a feeling that something is a hoax. You can't go with that. You never know when something's going to be an actual incident, and you have to send all your resources whenever a call like this comes in. Obviously, once we are done with this incident today, and we will sit down and we will do an after-action meeting and talk about what went right, what went wrong, what can we improve upon if this should happen again, which hopefully, of course, it will not.
Kids were calling their parents saying that, you know, there was shooting inside the school. Have you guys, so you're saying it's a hoax?
There was no shooting inside the school.
Sheila, was anybody arrested?
No. There was apparently, when the call came in, there was a description given of someone, and from what I understand, the first arriving authorities on the scene did see someone matching that description and did pull them into the back of a police car. That person has not been arrested, and obviously there hasn't been an incident, so I at this point would not expect that to be the case, but I'm sure that they will, you know, question this person and make sure that there wasn't even any involvement in this phone call, because obviously that is a crime as well. You make a phone call like that, that's, you know, a crime.
What agency will be handling the investigation?
I would believe that that would be our campus police department, because it was on campus now. Like I said, the FBI is involved, and they will try to determine, obviously, where that call came from. So if it came from somewhere off campus, that may bring other jurisdictions into the investigation.
And a lot of concerned parents saying they're being told to go one way, go another way to get their children out of the school. A lot of them didn't even know what was going on until Facebook, Twitter, or social media handles. Mm-hmm. What do you all, as a Savannah-Chatham County Schools, think that you all could do in order to give parents a little bit more of comfort, or a little bit more resources or information prior to them having to get it on their own?
Well, when parents started gathering over there, SPD asked me to go over and talk to parents, and I did go over. We tried to get on a PA system to talk to them more widely, but the rain was kind of shorting it out. So I went around and talked to a few groups. They were sending out messages district-wide to let the parents know who were bombarding the other schools with calls that there's nothing going on at your school, everything is fine. We do have an incident going on at Savannah High, but no injuries. As far as the call to parents here, I'm not sure, since it's being handled back at the office, what may have gone out to them earlier, but I know that they have been working for the last 20 minutes or so on getting a call ready to go out to parents, telling them where they can pick up their students. Anybody have anything else?
Anything else you can tell us?
Not at this point, unless...
Was there any commotion inside the school from students who probably heard this report while they're in class?
That I do not know. They seemed, the ones that I saw coming out of the school when I first arrived here, because they were evacuating students, seemed to be coming out fairly calmly. You know, most of them looking around, not really sure what was going on, and you know, teachers and campus police were all letting them know to get away from the building, and they gathered them all over on that side of campus. But as far as I know, I haven't heard of any chaos inside the school, but I wasn't in there, and I haven't spoken to anybody who was in there when the call first went out for everybody to evacuate, so I would have to check on that.
Did students return to class after?
It is possible. SPD said as soon as they completed their deep clear, it would be up to the district whether students returned to the classroom or were unified with their parents. I know that we're working on the site for parents to come pick their students up. Whether or not classes will continue so that students can stay if they wanted to, I'm not certain on that.
So you still have students there right now? Or?
Oh yes, we have all the students were over here on the side of campus, and they are being taken to where they can reunify with their parents.
And then are any other schools on lockdown too? Or?
We put all the schools in the district on a soft lockdown, which is just basically restricting movement, being aware. It's not the same as a hard lockdown where all doors are locked and no one goes anywhere, but just as a precaution, whenever something this big's going on, you want to make sure that there's a sense of security at the other schools and that they are taking precautions.
So it's not official if school's closed here for the rest of the day?
Not that I am aware of, no. I know that we do have counselors coming from our student affairs department, so any student who may have obviously been traumatized, I think anybody would be scared. They are going to be there where we're going to have parents come pick up their students, and so students will be able to talk to them, and as well as staff, if they are feeling afraid, concerned, anything like that. Just the same as they do in any type of traumatic situation.
And just to address any rumors, apparently the rumor reported a teacher shooting. Just to clarify that there was nobody shooter specifically on Savannah High School campus.
No. As of when I walked over here 10 minutes ago, SPD was just completing their deep clear, and they had found absolutely nothing in the building. No signs of any shooting, no one injured, nothing. So now it just comes down to figuring out where that call came from.
What was the communication like to parents behind the scenes? How did you guys kind of come up with a plan for communication and dissemination of information?
I was getting word back to my coworkers back at the office, and they were handling communications to parents. I told them that they needed to send out a district-wide communication because we started hearing the reports of parents calling other schools in the area after hearing rumors that something was happening at those schools. And I know that a district-wide communication was supposed to have been sent to them, and then they were working on the reunification information to send to Savannah High parents. What might have gone out before that, I can't tell you because I'm not there, but I will find out later.
Is this something that you guys have a plan for? Casualty situation, not that there were any casualties, but a situation like this?
Well, we have a close relationship with all of the other agencies in town. Like, I was the only PIO from Savannah Chatham Schools out here today, and we had 2 others back at the office. But I had public information officers from SEMA on the scene, as well as I've got a call from the county, as well as SPD PIOs on the scene. So we all kind of work together. If there's any type of mass casualty situation, we can get help if needed, which is why initially when we thought we were going to be moving students further away for reunification, we said and it started raining. SEMA was very concerned about you guys standing in the rain, and said that's why they came up with the plan to send you over to Whitney, which is relatively close by. But as soon as it stopped raining, I said, no, let's have them back here, because I assumed you guys would rather be here on the scene where everything was happening. And it was just easier because it's hard for me to be in 2 places at once, and somebody else would have had to leave my office who was back there answering the phones to go over to Whitney to talk to you guys.
So as of right now, parents are concerned to pick up their kids. They can come
here. Not yet. I don't know, and I told them to let me know. Yeah, there were a bunch of parents out front. I told them to let me know while I was talking to you all that Now they haven't told me I can release it yet, but there will be a plan sent out to parents as far as where they can pick up their students, because we don't want students just wandering off campus, going home on their own, even though they're high school students. We want them checked out and make sure everybody is accounted for. And so that message has not gone out that I'm aware of, at least they haven't texted me that it has. So, but as soon as those details go out, which I'm not sure why they haven't yet, but as soon as they go out, I can come back over here and let you guys know what the plan is, so you guys can broadcast it as well.
Thank you, Sheila.
Sure, no problem.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And we have been listening in. That was information coming from Sheila Parker Blanco, who is the Public Information Officer for Savannah-Chatham County Public Schools, basically saying that police found nothing in the building. Now they're trying to figure out where the call came from about the shooting, about a suspicious person. Someone called about that as well. We know that someone was questioned, but police did not make an arrest. So no one has been arrested. So far, no one has been hurt.
They're saying that at this point, it looks like this was a hoax, but they did go there, as you said, with a description of a person. That person has not been arrested. They're being questioned. They said that the FBI, while the district has its own law enforcement agency, and they are sort of leading the investigation right now, they said the FBI will likely be leading the investigation into who made the phone call that triggered all of this.
And we have more questions than answers right now, but Ben Katko is live near Savannah High School with more information for us this morning. Ben, what can you tell us?
On you now.
What's up? It's on you.
Shots hot, Ben.
All right, hey, good morning to you guys again. Sorry about that delay there, but some new information we just learned in the last couple of minutes. School officials with SEC PSS do believe that this was what they're calling a hoax. The good news here this morning, if you can find some good news in a situation like this, is that they do believe it was a hoax. Nobody was injured. There was no sign of a shooting inside the building. However, school officials do tell us that this may be connected to a handful of other similar situations and phone calls throughout a couple of other schools in the coastal Georgia area. Wayne and Glenn counties were mentioned by those school officials here this morning that may have also had similar situations at some of their schools there. Obviously, we don't know exactly where at those schools for sure. We just know those counties. However, out here, parents are reuniting with their children. They're being sent to the rec center nearby to do that. School officials have said that SPD was in the school. They went room by room trying to make sure that there was nothing in there, no threat, anything like that. We did speak to some parents that were coming out with their kids here just a little while ago. They're frustrated at the lack of information that came out to them in the very beginning of this, which is understandable, as any parent may be, that you would be frustrated with the situation knowing that you have a child inside the school that is under some sort of lockdown because of a threat. We also learned from SEC PSS leaders that some of the schools, most of the schools in the county system, were on some type of lockdown this morning once the call came in here to Savannah High School in the area around here. There are still many police units and emergency units out here this morning from all over the area. They continue to comb the scene as things have some kind of an ending here this morning, knowing what we know now from school officials that they do believe that this was indeed a hoax. We'll continue to be out here this morning. You'll hear from some more parents coming up at 11 o'clock this morning on News 3 Today. In the meantime, though, I want to send it back inside as we continue to work out here to bring you more information as the rain begins to fall again out here on this Wednesday morning. We're live. Ben Katko, WSAV News 3 on your side.
All right, thanks a lot, Ben. Now, we do know that school counselors will be available for students and for staff members today, but Ben mentioned, and as you did, Wayne County, Glenn County, Camden County, Chatham County. This is a part of what we believe is called school swatting. School swatting, and it is a pattern. It's a pattern we've seen over the past several months. And here we go again, is what it looks like. Like you said, they are going to have those counselors in the school. And just to reiterate, all of the schools in Savannah-Chatham County are on a soft lockdown. And what does that mean? Right now. And so that means that they can still move about, but it's restricted who comes in and who comes out. There's still teaching and learning going on at the schools. All right, so Brett Buffington is still live on the scene out at Savannah High. We join him now. Brett?
Hey, Edward, I want to bring up what you just said about school swatting. It's a very real thing. This happens across the country. If you think back to October 5th, this happened in Beaufort County. With the high school there, a call similar to this called in. That day, there were 5 other high schools in South Carolina alone. SLED and the FBI took over that investigation, just like the FBI seemingly will take over the investigation on who made this call today. The school system called it a hoax, and that is something that emotional parents out here just aren't ready to accept, and they literally because they don't have their children back in their arms. Of course, as we talked about the game of telephone, how rumors spread quickly, it was important that the school district get out and say as fast as they could that they believed that this likely was a hoax today and that no one inside this school is injured. There's still that process of getting back parents to their students here, very worried parents and very scared students here at this school, and that is still in the works of happening. I can tell you one parent told me their child said that they had been taken back inside the school and now being held inside the school out of the weather. It started to rain shortly after this all started. There is still an incredible police presence here, but we have watched officers starting to come back to their cars with assault rifles and putting those back up in safe places, and it certainly feels very relaxed now at this school, besides the parents standing out here trying to get to their students. Of course, we watched some of the Chatham County Police, the Chatham County School District Police leave here just a little bit ago. We're trying to figure out where they were going, but certainly, as you said, the rest of the school district here remains in a soft lockdown.
Thanks a lot, Brett. To recap some of what Brett has been saying to us this morning, right now no one has been shot or injured. This is coming from the Savannah-Chatham County Public School System. Savannah High School, the district confirms that no one has been injured, and they believe that this was a hoax. SWAT, though, is continuing to check on the school room by room, and the district says at this point what they're trying to do with the students at Savannah High School is make a plan for parents to pick their students up. We know they're going to the Park Recreation Center, but they still have to sign them out.
Yeah, and that's where they're sending those parents. And what Sheila Blanco was saying, so many parents came, they had to use a PA system to address all of them. So yes, they're working on that plan right now to figure out how the parents can get the students, like you said, sign them out for the rest of the day. They will have counselors on hand probably tomorrow as well.
And hoax or not, this is frustrating. It's traumatizing. It's terrifying. So those counselors will be put to good use. News 3's Ben Katko is a block from the school this morning, and he has more information for us. Ben, what can you tell us?
All right, good morning to you guys again. Before we're done here in just a little bit, wanted to let you know that we have heard from school leaders. Again, if you missed it a couple of minutes ago, they do believe what happened here at the school today was a hoax, perhaps in line with several other hoax phone calls to schools in Wayne and Glynn counties. We've heard from school leaders so far. They have not found anybody injured, no signs of a shooting, nothing like that. However, the police presence here does remain relatively large. As you see a cruiser pulling away. Over here to my left is a handful of school buses coming in. The students have been evacuated to reunite with their parents nearby at a rec center not too far from here. The school's about a block over my shoulder just down this way. We're at Capitol and Pennsylvania, not far off President Street if you're trying to get an idea of the area we're in. So we've been out here for a couple of hours now, and we know, again, we've just found out in the last 15 or 20 minutes, school leaders telling us that they do believe what is alleged to have happened here this morning was a hoax. They are still working on more information, though. They tell us that SPD did go room by room inside the school trying to clear those rooms, make sure that nothing was going on in there. We have heard from several parents out here who have picked up their children that they were frustrated with the way information was sent out to them or not sent to them, the way they found out about what was going on. So things still in the infant stages here, but the big news here this morning that they do believe what happened here is not true, that it is in fact a hoax. That from school leaders not that long ago. We'll be back at 11 o'clock this morning. You'll hear from more parents. You'll hear about more of what's going on out here as we do continue to bring you the very latest. I do want to send it back to Kim and Edward here this morning. I'm live out here. Ben Katko, WSAV News 3, on your side.
All right, thanks a lot, Ben. We appreciate that. And of course, News 3 will continue to be there on the scene at Savannah High School. We still see a heavy police presence there, but people have backed off. Children are leaving the school. SWAT team is still there checking the school out. The biggest point right now is that we want to make is that this appears to be a hoax. This coming from Savannah-Chatham County Public School System. It appears to be a hoax. No injuries. Nobody has been arrested. Apparently this came about through a phone call made about a suspicious person.
And it appears to be a part of a pattern that has carried out throughout the morning. Again, Camden County High School reporting a hoax. They checked the school there and all of the schools in the district. Brunswick High School this morning reporting the call of an active shooter that also they have confirmed was a hoax. So we appear to be in another one of these patterns where someone is calling around to schools in the Coastal Empire this morning with this hoax of an active shooter.
Yeah, but I guess the biggest takeaway is that it was a hoax.
Yes, thank goodness.
Thank goodness.
Yes.
They believe that this was a hoax and that nobody has been hurt. But of course, we have to confirm these things. We have to check them out. There's certain protocol that has to be followed when the school system receives a phone call like this.
It sure does. All right, well, we will have all of the latest updates as they continue to investigate. They're going to have to try and figure out who made these hoax calls. The FBI is in on that, so we will have the latest on WSAV.com and on the WSAV app and here on air as well.
That's right, coming up on News 3 today at 11 o'clock, and we will see you in about 30 minutes.